It's showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We are live. As we start the show, I think it's important that we take a look back at 1848. It's a time of tumult. Zachary Taylor of the Whig Party has just won the presidential election. Prince Louis Napoleon Bonaparte is elected first president of the French Second Republic. The Queen's College in London was founded, the world's first school to award academic qualifications to young women. The gold rush is in full effect in California. Karl Marx publishes the Communist Manifesto. Wisconsin becomes the 30th state. Letters of patent to Queen Victoria declaring Melbourne a city are read on the steps of St. Peter's Eastern Hill Church. And Oh, Susanna by Stephen Foster is burning up the charts. And while all this is happening, a new word is coined. A simple collection of letters that could change the lives of all those who are hearing these words. A word that means a musical or dramatic performance or social or public event held in the daytime and especially the afternoon. And that word from our friends across the pond, Vive la France, is of course matinee. Welcome one and all to the Saturday matinee.
Woo! My favorite part of all of that was A, your writing, but also B, Steve sort of sacrimoniously nodding as if he knew every. He's like, yep, yes. You got number 4, number 5, number 6.
30th state,
okay,
sure.
Exactly.
Outstanding.
So this is Kyle Olson from the Marvel Movie Minute and some other stuff too. I am in the big chair tonight. Joining me is my fellow Phoenician, Mr. Steve.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning.
That's right. And the handsomest man in podcasting, Tommy.
That's me. I live in my own mirror. Hi, guys. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
So the first big question then, what have you guys been watching?
Oh, I've been catching up on The Expanse because I didn't start with that. And so now binged through the first 4 seasons and now reluctant to start season 5 because then it's going to be like a year and a half or 2 years before I get season 6 that they just approved, but I've been loving that. Middleditch and Schwartz on Netflix.
I love Middleditch and Schwartz.
So good. Improv. Oh my God. It's just, I love some good improv, but the fact that these two guys are trying to keep track of, I don't know, in some cases, like a dozen characters in their head and have to sort of check themselves occasionally, like, do I have a name? Do I have a name? Or isn't there somebody right here?
Yeah.
Loving that. So I'm sort of done with the stand-up comedy that just seems to be flooding Netflix. So this was, I'm not done with it in terms of I've seen it all, just can't bear to do any more stand-up. So this was something fresh that hadn't been expected. It showed up on somebody's like best of the comedy of 2020 list, because that's sort of at that point where I'm trying to now look at what did I miss in 2020? Looked at, Letterboxd, top films from 2020. I'm like, that's great. None of these have been released yet. So how are they on these lists?
Yeah, I showed that. I discovered that because I was a fan of theirs. And then my daughter is now into role playing. And now that's sort of is also about improv. So those two things, I'm like, oh, here's what you need to see. So like I actually had her watch that and came back. And those guys are fantastic in everything they do. It is a little bit of diminishing returns because for the first one is so great, yes. And then it's sort of like the second one is good but not as great, and the third one's like pretty good but not quite as good. Yeah. So if you can only watch one, watch the first one. Exactly. But like those guys are amazing. I hope that I'd love to have them have a series, like just basically just put the two of them in a room, point a camera at it, and let them go. So I've only ever watched the first episode of The Expanse.
Oh, really?
Is that okay? Yeah, you that has the Steve seal of approval?
Yes. I was at the same point a couple of years ago. I started, I was like, oh, there's all this politics and all this stuff to keep track of. And give it the first 3 or 4 just on a Saturday or something, a weekend, just get a good chunk into the first season. And then it was really easy to keep going with that one.
That's the one where certain like off-worlders or someone are like really like tall and skinny because they're friends of the show. Johnny Giacalone, Darnell Smith, who has been a contributor on the show, are enormous super fans of that. So it has multiple seals of approval. I tried it and I was like, what? But that's just me because it's a tough.
There's a lot of proper nouns, a lot of fictional proper nouns that Tommy's like, tall Martian McGee. Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Mostly I just looked at like really tall, skinny Martians. And I was like, is this going to unlock something?
Is it one of those things where you have to like get into its rhythm, or is it like it becomes a really good show after like the 4th or 5th episode, and then
it becomes a really good show. And I think part of that might have to do with, I mean, it's got a very interesting origin story because it's based on novels, but the novels were, my understanding, and this may be somewhat apocryphal lore at this point, but it's a group of guys that were doing some role playing, and so that became the genesis of the story because there's a somewhat of a main character that gets killed off early on, and it's because that guy could no longer show up for game night, and so they killed his character off.
It's based in it's a nom de plume is the person that writes it, something Corey, and it's just actually a group of people or 2 people that have written everything, and it started kind of, I think maybe as fan fiction online and stuff, and then at some point just the world exploded. So the first book I think in the series is called Leviathan Wakes. I know that again because of Darnell Smith. Yeah.
So kind of like Weiss and Hickman, like they took a role-playing game and then
yes, exactly,
told the story of it.
Yes. So and it's got there's the 2 writers, and so one of it is very much like the sci-fi piece, and there's another part in the first season that's sort of a noirish detective story, and so they sort of, it's my understanding, split that. So one of them wrote the detective piece, and then the other was dealing with the sci, and it all takes place, they interweave and all of that, but it's well done, big, huge expansive world universe that they've built that's very entertaining. It's well managed.
All right. So what about you, Tommy? What have you been watching?
I've almost finished rewatching all of Children's Hospital, which is currently on Hulu, which is it's something that I did watch on, not all of it. I didn't realize that it was like for 7 seasons because each episode is only like 10 minutes long. It was Adult Swim, little drop-ins. It is hysterical. I mean, the stuff that the amount of creativity and experimentation that they give themselves is remarkable. I think it's truly art, and it is comedy. It's not like a realistic comedy. It's like a Anchorman kind of universe. Everything is incredibly heightened. Nothing really quite makes sense, but it's just so funny, and everyone is in it. And I've really been enjoying it.
It amazes me, like episode to episode, who they get to show up and be ridiculous.
Yeah, because everyone just wants to be a part of it. It seems like such a David Wayne is throwing a party and everyone just wants to come. So I've been rewatching that. That's what when I eat breakfast, I've been watching one episode of that. And the only other thing I'll say is that I'm finally taking a real run at, and we talked about this on another podcast involving Pete. I'm finally taking a run at Breaking Bad. I have been stuck on episode 2, season 1 for forever.
Yeah.
People drop out of they melt through a tub and fall to the floor. Yes. And for some reason at that point, I was like, got it. And then the amazing renaissance of Breaking Bad went and happened years and years and years ago. And most of my friends are legit angry at me for not watching it. So my plan is because I find things that have like seasons and seasons, this is The Expanse, incredibly intimidating. I just don't know if I can do it, which doesn't make any sense. I have time. Look at me. Look.
Yeah.
Like what I have to like send my dog to school. No, but instead what I'm doing is because I don't like binge culture, I'm just making what is the most obvious choice in the world. I'm watching 1 episode a night.
Hey, I think it's a smart thing, especially for that show, because it allows it to breathe.
Right, exactly. Because I really miss an episode a week kind of a situation. That's when I felt like I was on top of things. So yeah, I've rewatched the first 2. So I'm exactly where I was before, and it's dynamite. It's really good already. And so I just need to, finally catch up.
My recommendation is, and because I was exactly with you, people kept raving and raving and raving, and I got somewhere about where you are when it's like, this is so boring. What are people talking about? And so I got into the habit of whenever Walt or Jesse wasn't on screen, I would fast forward.
Really?
Yes, and I found that by the time I got to like the 4th season, I didn't have to do that anymore because but the problem is the show is still figuring out what it is in this one, because there's that whole like shoplifting storyline that has no business being in the show. I mean,
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I know you'll get it. But they try and like let's give all the secondary characters also subplots.
Oh, and that can be a little too spread out. Yeah. I talked about on What's That Smell with Pete of like, because it's been so revered, so much of it has trickled through. I know phrases like Say My Name. I'm the one who knocks. Heisenberg.
Yeah.
I don't know what any of those things mean, but I know that those are phrases. So we'll see.
I because of that plan though, like whenever last night with his wife, I was like, ugh. So like, and I missed one of those famous scenes, and I had to I finished the series, and I'm like, how come I never got to that Say My Name thing? And I was had to go back and go, because I had fast forward through it like an idiot.
You were like, wait, they were selling drugs?
Yeah. Wait, I thought this was just about an RV.
Right. Well, that's a lot of TV. Nobody's watching movies?
Yeah, I have not been really watching movies. I actually just finished Studio 60 based on Tommy's recommendation.
Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip? I recommended that?
Well, you did.
Yikes.
When we were on the Sorkin podcast or the Trial of the Chicago 7.
Yes.
We were talking about Sorkin, and I said I had never finished it, and you said you need to go back and finish it because it is really good. And so I went back and finished it, and you were right. It's the one Sorkin thing I had never actually finished all the way through.
But I don't believe. Are you sure I said that? Because it's incredibly.
You didn't give it a ringing endorsement. Like no, drop everything and go see it. You were just like no, it's worth your time.
When it's great,
it's
great. When it's terrible, it is terrible.
Yeah, when it's terrible, it's terrible. Yeah, I would not say for fans of The West Wing, run right out and get yourself a copy. No,
man,
it is a flawed series, but I really have enjoyed it because, like you said, when it's great, and when it's down, it's sort of like, oh, okay, so you decided you were going to fight every cultural battle at the same time in the show. Okay, good luck. But that's why we go. Yeah, so not a lot of movies. I've actually been watching a lot more television stuff lately.
There's so much great TV out there. That's the challenge. And
there's going to be more because we got that's the top of our news is more
yes,
television entertainment because big thing that meant a lot to me is The Muppet Show is finally coming to a streaming platform. Disney Plus is going to be the home for The Muppet Show on February 19th.
Wait, the old Muppet Show?
I couldn't find the old Muppet Show? Yes, the original, The Muppet Show.
Sweet.
This is what we call The Muppet Show.
Oh.
And it's great because the 4th and 5th seasons have never been commercially released since Disney owned them. You could get them on VHS tapes way back. You guys remember that?
Yes.
You used to have the Time Life collections. That was the only way you could get them.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. So they had put out during the DVD when you were DVD sets, they did the first 3 seasons on DVD and then stopped. So those last 2 seasons, which have some amazing episodes in them, when they get super experimental and stuff, have never been commercially available through that. So now this is the first time they've been on streaming, and unfortunately, I believe they are still going to be edited because of those darn music rights. There were some of the later things I think there's one episode, I think the Jim Neighbors episode is notorious because there was 4 songs in it and they couldn't clear any of them. So the episode comes in at 15 minutes just because they had to cut all
Jim Neighbors is notoriously stingy. He's like Prince. When Prince was still alive, it'd be it might as well be try to buy Stairway to Heaven because Jim Neighbors, woof.
I think that's one of the songs he sings.
Yeah.
I believe it's the RIAA who's being jerky about it.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so what I understand is these will still be the edited versions of them, but it's still better than nothing. And there's still a lot of great Muppet content in there, so I'm super excited about that. And then speaking of music rights and fights, Tommy, that gives us to your story.
A very nice lead into mine, which is just at Hulu, Freaks and Geeks, Paul Feig and Judd Apatow finally coming to a place. I own the DVD box set, and almost none of the DVDs work anymore. Just because I've had them and I played them too much. But no, I mean, so many stars came from this. Freaks and Geeks is just so legendary. And one of the big hangups, what's another famous show like the Muppets that has been held back because of music rights?
WKRP in Cincinnati.
Is that really what?
Oh yeah, it's a huge issue because there's because they say the names of the songs.
Oh,
so
right.
Because it's a radio station, they'll be and now here's Kiss with Love Gun.
Oh, they would talk about the actual. I used to watch that, but I don't remember it. They would say the real song. Oh wow, neat.
Right. So because I knowing this, I had sort of done my research on the music rights thing, and the WKRP was a huge one, and even now. You can't stream it. You can't buy the digital versions. You can only buy the DVDs, and the DVDs are heavily edited.
So this is a good that they took the time to really do it, Freaks and Geeks, because it is a period piece of sorts. It'd be kind of like trying to watch. Oh, you know what? I bet is another one. Wonder Years.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Yeah,
yeah,
you're
watching
probably right.
Freaks and Geeks without the original soundtrack would be like watching Freaks and Geeks if Kids Bop did all of the songs. But the fact that they have the original soundtrack coming for the entire series is legendary and is amazing. And I really, really hope that it finds that Hulu does a little bit of a, hey, everybody, this is one for the ages. You've got to come watch this because it launched so many careers and it's just a beautiful, beautiful show.
It's one of my all-time favorite shows, and yet I find it hard to watch because it is absolutely my life. Like,
which one were you?
I think people can pretty much figure it out. But the stuff in there, it's like I was young at that time. Like I knew those songs, I knew those moments. I was living those lives. So it was like watching home movies that you didn't know people had been taking. But yeah, so I'm glad that this gets on the service because it really deserves to be as widely seen as possible because it is a work of art. And so, Steve, speaking of classic television, the story that you found actually ties into classic television as well.
There we go. This was a scandal on the internet when they announced that they were going to be casting Nicole Kidman to play Lucille Ball. And the fans went bonkers and said, she's not funny. Her nose isn't the right shape. She's not a redhead, whatever. It was all this like backlash of like, how dare you consider her for this role, to the point where Lucille Ball's actual daughter went onto her personal Facebook page and said, look, it's happening. It's fine. She's going to do a great job, with this. And I think the issue is because it's coming back around to, this is Aaron Sorkin again with this project.
I didn't even know that Aaron Sorkin was making a Lucille Ball film.
Well, it's rumored is how it's listed on IMDb, but I think the fact that they, again,
Variety had it, so I mean, like it's a real story.
It's moving along. Yes, it's but this is called Being the Ricardos, and basically they're looking at like a week, sort of, as Sorkin will do with things of like, let's condense time, let's do with the Steve Jobs thing.
Steve Jobs, right.
So it's like it's 1 week, so you're dealing with the show, but you're also dealing with their own family drama, all of that stuff. So I think that if they were going to try to recreate an entire episode, could Nicole Kidman pull that off? Maybe, maybe not. She's not a sitcom star. But when you're getting the behind the scenes drama, you're going to have those moments. And then, of course, Javier Bardem is allegedly going to be playing Ricky.
Oh, wow.
Or Desi Arnaz in this. Yeah. So, but this is always one of these things where you want to get into some intellectual property because there's a huge fan base, but then you always risk offending the fan base by casting. I mean, it goes back to Tim Burton casting Michael Keaton as Batman, and how dare you cast a funny man as the Dark Knight? All that, and things work out.
And he was great. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So I think Nicole Kidman's got the talent to do this, but it was one that I was not aware of the project. I'd like to see what happens with this, but from what's been described, I'm like, I'd be interested to see how this comes together, and I think she's got the acting chops to pull this project off.
I hope she plays her character like she did in The Undoing, which I was really a fan of until I wasn't. Like I was a hyper fan, and then no spoilers. I was like, oh no, but I hope that she plays Lucille Ball like she might be from every country. Like the accent is just like, let's go and let's try to distract everyone with hair and coats, beautiful coats, walking down the street because nothing else. Yeah, but I'm a huge fan of her, and in Sorkin we trust. So I'm in.
Exactly. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think if people are worried if she has comedic chops, I would recommend them checking out The Prom. Because she takes like fourth lead in that movie, and she does a great job. Like she took a small part, which I think was kind of amazing for Nicole Kidman, who's like top billing, and actually is really, really funny in this role. I'd say look at that. Let's ignore the Stepford Wives.
Yes,
like just focus on. Yeah. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see her and Javier Bardem when they get them all in the makeup and they have the accents and. Speaking of giants of the small screen, we're going to giants of the big screen. and then having another epic face-off, and that's Godzilla is taking on King Kong. And the fight is going to happen earlier because originally this was supposed to drop in May, and they have moved it up now to March 26th.
Really?
So yeah, and it's going to be on HBO Max. So if you have an HBO Max subscription, you can watch it.
Oh, is it a Paramount movie?
If you're able to go to a theater, you can. No, it is a Warner Brothers film.
That's what I meant. You guys said Paramount. I said, guys, it's Warner Brothers.
Yes.
Check your facts.
I'm sorry.
The listeners know.
I need to change. I'll change that in my notes. Hold on. Yeah, so it's going to be on HBO Max streaming, or if you can go to a movie theater, then go to a movie theater and see it there. But actually getting it early. And for those of you who are listening on Saturday, which the hardcore fans are, you'll be able to watch the trailer tomorrow because Sunday they're actually going to get to see these two titans facing off. Will there be them eating chocolates? No, that's the other movie. This is them, a gorilla and a lizard punching. And so I believe this is a continuation. Like this is Godzilla 3 and King Kong 2, because this is Kong Skull Island Kong.
Oh, which is, see, I haven't seen, okay, I've seen King Kong and I've seen Godzilla. I haven't seen Kong, whatever.
Skull Island. I did.
Skull Island. And I haven't seen the second Godzilla, which was what? Godzilla
King of Monsters.
So I've
King of Monsters.
So you're saying those two sequels or the second ones are actually same cinematic universe, but the Peter Jackson King Kong and then the first Godzilla are separate from, or is it just Kong that's different?
The Peter Jackson King Kong are not part of this. That is an alternate universe.
Okay.
Is the Matthew Broderick version where a bunch of dinosaurs slipped on gumballs? Is that still canon? Because I remember being in the theater and being like, oh no, literally slipping on gumballs? That's insane. This movie cost hundreds of millions of dollars.
Wait till you see them pull that in the next Jurassic World movie, Tommy, having the raptors slipping on the gumballs.
So excited. So excited. Baby Triceratops for the win.
Dare we to dream. And that's pretty much wraps it up for the news. So I think now we think to talk about our trailers. And Tommy, you were the first one to put your trailer up, so tell us what you found.
Oh boy, did I not know that this existed, and then I almost didn't press play because I was wondering if it was going to make me sad, and then it didn't. It's called Stray, and it seems to just be, it might be directed by dogs. There's a chance.
Sağlam. Hayvanda var ya, sarı güzel köpek.
As we all know, and I know right away, it takes place in Turkey, and it seems to just follow around the idea that Turkey has a no catch and no kill public policy for stray dogs. So stray dogs are just like chilling like villains all over the place. And it seems like we're following a couple dogs, and they all like bought GoPros and put them around their heads. I don't exactly know what this movie is, but it looks beautiful. It looks heartwarming. And it seems like maybe it won't make me sad. This Stray, I mean, I'll see anything dogs. This seems like the answer to why I didn't see Call of the Wild with Harrison Ford, which is when I saw the trailer and the dog was so clearly CGI'd. I was like, what? Why? Because dogs are so expressive in this trailer. I feel like I've seen every single
Terry
emotion.
Notary needs the word.
Fair enough. Yeah, so it's called Stray. It comes out March 5th, as we all know, and I said first. And it seems beautiful, and it seems amazing, and there's just all of these people like petting this incredibly noble and wise-looking dog. It just seems remarkable to me. What did you guys think? It's a weird choice, but...
No, it is not a weird choice, because first I thought, oh my gosh, this is sort of unofficial sequel to a film from 2016 called Kedi, Kedi, which was about the stray cats of Istanbul. And it's basically the same type of thing of that whole idea of following the cats because of this, you know, they're just all over these stray cats and they, you know, do their thing. The other piece was, as I was watching this, I was having flashbacks to my trip to Istanbul from back in September, because we had an experience where we were out one evening and this dog followed us from a cafe back to our hotel, and we nicknamed him Ruffles, and he was very kind. He just, very cool dog. The next day, we're like a mile and a half farther away in town at like the Spice Bazaar, and we're walking through this parking lot, and Ruffles comes just like walking up to us, and we're like, dude, we're miles from where we saw you last night, and you're here. And he just walked up to us like, hey, buddies, how's it going? Let's hang out together.
That's such a better story. I was afraid you'd be like, oh, Ruffles is so sweet. And then we checked our wallets.
No. But it is the fact that that we saw that his ear had been tagged. So we thought, okay, clearly they just allowed the strays to wander, and they've tagged them to maybe keep track of where they are. He may be one that, they're monitoring for some reason. But I saw that and I thought, yes, I am all up for this, and I need to do a double feature. I'll do a cat movie and a dog movie, and it'll be like, tears all day long with the animals.
Love it.
Hoping for happy endings and not, animals getting, injured, hurt.
Right.
All of those things. Oh, I love this.
So are you telling me that there's a Stray cinematic universe?
Yes. I'm
like, are we building up towards like the SCU? An Avengers level?
The SCU. Yes.
We're building up towards a Stray Avengers kind of crossover thing.
Yes, it would be cats versus dogs, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but Hawkeye probably also. Just throw Hawkeye in there.
Just in there.
Why are you here?
We'll have a great scene at the airport there in Istanbul where they're just running across the tarmac, dogs on this side and cats on this side just charging towards each other.
So is this a fictional movie about a real situation, or is this a documentary about one particular dog?
Documentary that seems to be following one main dog based on the trailer, and then just involving the entire. That it seems like an incredibly when I saw No Kill, I was like, hooray! When I saw No Catch, I was like, ooh, I'm not sure, because that's how dogs get families, but it seems like just based on the trailer, like maybe Turkey has sort of figured it out.
They just
everyone's sort of like taking care of the dogs, and there's so much of a tourist thing. There's just tons of things of like these dogs are just completely domesticated without being in domestic homes, which is remarkable. We'll see.
Yeah.
So when they do the American version of this, they'll have the dog with a monologue, right?
Yes.
Like they get like Nick Cage to record the thought processes of the dog as it moves through the city.
Exactly.
For as long as I can remember, I always wanted to be a dog. And you're like, what? What does that mean? Dog fellas? Okay.
Oh. Copyright that quick. Somebody will grab it for you. All right, so my trailer was next. So what I like about doing this show is that, I'm known as the Muppet / entertainment Marvel guy. I have another side, too. Something that Steve and I share is a love for the theater. And being from the Midwest and now living in Phoenix, I do have a bit of FOMO because I look at the stuff at the coast and go, man, it'd be really nice to do all this really cool stuff. And now I get to. I had actually heard about this show, which is a combination like performance art / magic act plus something, but only seated 150 people and only in New York. And I thought, well, I'm never going to get a chance to go and see that. But now, due to the generosity of Stephen Colbert and Frank Oz, who actually is directing this, there is a documentary that also shows the show, and it's called In and of Itself.
Every secret has a unique weight to it, and you can only carry them for so long.
You think this is a performance. You see a man in a theater, there's an audience. It is difficult to see past what this looks like. You can see it for what it is, or you can imagine what it could be.
Before you came in here, there was a wall. Maybe you chose something you feel reflects who you really are in this world. The conceptual artist, the teacher. Someone here is an idiot. Idiot, wherever you are, please raise your hand. That's about right. I come here day after day after day and attempt to defy some odds.
I do not expect you to believe anything you're seeing.
Only a lucky few get to know how this story ends.
And as we were talking about this before the show started, Tommy, you actually got to see the show, and I am super jealous.
When I first saw Derek Delgadio, he was paired up with someone named Helder Guimaraes or something like that. And
we'll never know.
And it was a show called Nothing to Hide, and it was directed by Neil Patrick Harris. And it it started, everything starts in New York, then it came here, and it debuted at the Geffen Theater, which is in Westwood Village. Where Westwood Village is where Sharon Tate in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood goes to see her movie, The Wrecking Crew, literally 1 block and a half north and then west is the Geffen Theater. And it's a very small theater, but it gets amazing things. And the thing about Nothing to Hide, it is, with lack of a better word, a magic show. And it just pushed their entire schedule away because it just kept selling out literally for months and months. They just pushed all the other shows because it was a incredible success. And then he came back many years later with In and of Itself, just Derek alone, and now directed by Frank Oz. It is a remarkable show. Both of the shows were remarkable. I actually got to be an audience participant in the first one, not in the second one. Without spoiling anything, if you do watch the trailer makes it almost seem like it's more of a mentalist act. It's really leaning into the idea that before you go into the theater, there is this really big thing where it says, a really big board with zillions of little cards that say I am, and then an adjective or a noun. I should just say a noun. I am an inventor. I am an idiot. I am a liar. I am a thing. And you just pick one, you put it in your pocket, and you forget about it. That's so little of the show. It's an incredible part of the show, but really it is really reminiscent of Ricky Jay. Late Ricky Jay, who involves incredible personal history, historical history, and then these feats of magic that I have never seen before or again. He is a genius, and it's fun, it's funny, it's sad, it's heartbreaking. It is remarkable. It's one of the greatest shows I've ever seen in my entire life.
And I'm hoping this documentary can capture some of that magic, literally. And so if you want to see this and you have a Hulu subscription, you can go right now and watch it because it became available yesterday. And that's probably what I'm doing right now as you're listening to this. So In and of Itself. I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, very much looking forward to that. That's when Kyle, when you posted this as your trailer, I thought, how did he find this? Because this should be my trailer. This is one of these things that, that blew me away with this. I thought these are the things that, fall off the radar that I love discovering. So I'm glad you found this trailer because my trailer is something that's not something I would normally pick. But as I thought about it, I thought, no, I have a really good reason for bringing a trailer like this to the show because, what else is there to do but, avoid the inevitable comparisons to Groundhog Day that will always happen in a film like this when you've got a man who's trapped in a never-ending loop on the day of his death in Joe Carnahan's Boss Level.
Hey, Jake, can I get a large bottle of that Baijiu? You know what? Make it 2 large bottles.
How can you drink like that?
I used to complain that every day felt the same, and now every day is the same.
Hey, Jake.
I have died 144 times, and every day ends like this. But it doesn't matter. Not when you've lost everything you've loved. Renter, man who's had me killed 150 times.
The power to rewrite history is mine.
Heads up. I know everything that's gonna happen.
I'm being tortured!
One thing that never changes?
What's up, pretty boy?
A bunch of assholes killing me for reasons that remain a mystery.
I am Guan Yin, and Guan Yin has done this.
1, 2, 3.
It's for you.
Roy, can you hear me?
We can't explain it right now, but I'm gonna need your help.
Gemma? The only woman I've ever loved and who can stop this is still alive. I have to get killed.
Hi, Roy.
Over and over again. Until I save her.
Now, my first thought was, oh, this is that, they did this Ryan Reynolds thing, Free Guy, they got pushed back. All of this, is this something that, was coming alongside of that? According to IMDb, Carnahan had been trying to make this movie for years. It was written back in 2010. He rewrote the script and announced in 2012 that he would direct it for 20th Century Fox. So this has been one of these projects that's been around for a while, but I think we're going to see things like this more often because it's now not just a gimmick. It's become a thing because of just video game culture has found its way into the mainstream. So when you have movies like Free Guy or something called Boss Level or,
Oh, interesting. I didn't think about
it. It stops being, Groundhog Day of like a clever device. It's no, this is how games work is you try to do something, you get killed. If you've ever like rage quit a game because you can't get past this one part and you're like, why can't I get through that wall? You just, I keep dying.
That legit happened to me today.
Yes.
See, but I'm not joking. I'm replaying Deus Ex Human Revolution, and the first boss fight came by, and I was like, "Oh right, why didn't I invest in Typhoon?" Deep cut. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm with you though. You get to that first boss and realize I've built my character all
Exactly.
wrong.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm looking forward to this. It's got a lot of familiar names. That's surprising. You've got Frank Grillo as sort of our main character. Naomi Watts is his possibly like missing wife, but then we get as the boss guy. I'm assuming Mel Gibson is showing up, but we've got Michelle Yeoh, Ken Jeong in here. So looks like just ridiculous fun.
The trailer, interestingly, does start at like C+, B- level,
Yes.
and then you're like, wait,
yes.
what? Oh, what? Oh no! Wow, yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, it's a well-made trailer because it just gets crazier and crazier as it goes along.
And it makes me think of, in addition to Groundhog Day, the other movie that I think is part of the DNA of this is a film that has been, like, I think lost. Do I say to the ages? Because I don't know that it's that long, but now that I look at the date, it is probably been a long time. Do you remember a little Clive Owen movie called Shoot 'Em Up?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, he throws carrots into guns.
Yes, exactly. It's just over the top extreme violence. And to me, you take that and Groundhog Day, that's what you get with Boss Level. And I think those are the pieces that it's now been around long enough that people are like, yeah, we'll accept this as entertainment. Because
maybe like Free Fire. Didn't you do Free Fire as a trailer rewind? Yeah.
Yes, we did. And you get some cartoonish violence in there, although that one's a bit darker, but I think that's
a bit more Reservoir Dogs, but yeah.
That's yes. So yeah, Shoot 'Em Up 2007. So yes, 14 years later, we're getting Boss Level. So there we are. And that is also available March 5th is what is listed as the release date on that one. But
so as soon as you've watched Stray, you can then go watch Boss Level.
Exactly.
It's a nice film festival you put
What
together.
a weird A to B.
Yes, exactly.
I can say one very small, very short, very uninteresting thing about Joe Carnahan is I owe him a shot. He bought me a shot once because as avid listeners will remember, I used to work for John Woo, and they were both in the initial 3 of when BMW commissioned
the Hire
commissioned a whole thing of short
still
films.
have that DVD.
I did too. And John Woo did one, and then Joe Carnahan directed The Ticker, which is one of the greatest ones of the entire series. And he was already in party mode when we showed up at the ArcLight, and I was like, "Hey, I just I work with Mr. Woo, and I just wanted to say." He's like, "Of course you do. All right, here we go." And then he handed me a shot, and he goes, "Let's go." And I was in this group of people, like his friends and probably huge A-listers that I didn't know. And I was like, okay, I'll take this. And then I almost threw up. And in the end, but that's kind of fun. He seems like an incredibly nice guy.
Oh, wow. I totally forgot about The Hire. Man, those were good.
Yes.
As corporate synergy goes, that was one of the best things that ever came out of it.
I mean, look at I had forgotten, Clive Owen again there, but I mean, the list of directors on that, you've got Joe Carnahan, John Frankenheimer,
Guy Ritchie.
Yes.
Tony Scott.
Yes.
Tony Scott's is really good.
Oh my gosh.
Tony Scott's is insane with James Brown.
That's probably my favorite of them.
And, his is crazy town.
But yeah, so yeah, and I'm glad you picked this one, because if you didn't, this is my second choice as well. I saw this trailer and I'm like, oh, there's so much to talk about in the trailer. And I like that, everybody's going to talk about Groundhog Day, but also like Palm Springs.
Yes.
And like there's even an episode of the first season of Star Trek Discovery. So like time loops, I think, is now a viable thing.
Happy Death
you
Day.
can tell stories.
Happy Death Day.
Happy Death Day.
Yes,
There you go.
exactly.
And Happy Death Day too. Like I think it's a viable thing. You don't actually have to stay away from it just because Groundhog Day did it good.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Like you can actually take it on yourself and make good stuff there. Yeah, Happy Death Day is a good thought. That was a good movie. So, all right. So those are our trailers. All right. So now I put together a little game for us, gentlemen.
Kyle, KO knockout.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I've got my 15th level paladin sheet here. I've got my dice. So is that what we're doing? Right?
What's your dice?
Yeah, my special ability is stickiness.
Roll the stick. All right. So for this game, this week I started thinking about parties, not political parties, but the ones that we should be having, because we just had a major event in the United States. We're not going to really talk about that, but in the world before, this would be where we would be getting together to have this thing. So. And I started to think, okay, if we had a party, what would the theme of the party be? What would be the most fun, the most memorable, the most exciting party? So I thought maybe movies can show us the way. So, gentlemen and Tommy, I present to you in single elimination form the Ultimate Movie Party Championship.
Oh, is this another one of those ranking things?
It's an elimination. Okay. Yes, I've got the eliminations right there. So I've chosen 10 on-screen movie parties and set them against each other. My choices were both arbitrary and capricious, but they followed the rules: no weddings, no birthdays, no holidays. And I won't even promise I stuck to those rules because I only thought of them later.
Got it.
And so let's get started. So for our first round, so for most of us, our first major party was in high school, so that's where our first matchup is set. So
we're skipping right over Briss. That's fine. Go ahead.
Yes, no Briss. Okay. I heard there are a lot of movie brisses. I might have just missed that subgenre.
Oh, I just mean party brisses.
Oh, okay.
Let's do this. Go ahead.
So I heard tonight that Preston Myers is planning to proclaim his love to his 4-year secret crush, Amanda Beckett, who is just jumped by her popular jock boyfriend, Mike Dexter. So in this who's who of young 90s actors, we have Can't Hardly Wait.
Oh, my gosh.
Which the whole movie takes place at a house party. So opposing them, hear about a party? Here's the procedure. Text all your friends, tell them where to meet you. So you know nobody. That's not what counts. It's somebody's house and they got no bouncer. Whose house is this? Why, it's Katie's house, and all of the plastics are supposed to be here tonight. And there's a rumor that Regina George might show up. It all happens in a little film called Mean Girls. Oh. So the better party, Can't Hardly Wait, or Mean Girls?
I already know my answer, although it is tough. Steve, would you like to go first, or would you like me to go while you are mulling? Because it seemed like you're real like beard mulling.
It is, because it may have been the 90s since I last saw Can't Hardly Wait, because that's been a long time.
Well, there is a vodka filled water.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on in that one, and I'm probably gonna gonna have to go. I think I'm going with Can't Hardly Wait because it does all take place at the party, and I think you have more epic moments of frivolity there, shall we say?
Oh, okay. All right.
100%.
What do you think, Tommy?
100%. Can't hardly wait. I love a contained piece. I love something that only takes place in a short thing. And then that director duo went on to direct one of my, now I'm not embarrassed anymore, one of my favorite overlooked movies, Josie and the Pussycats.
Yes.
Wait, hear me out.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
That director duo takes very base stuff and elevates it in ways that they have never, ever, ever been acknowledged for. So yeah, Can't Hardly Wait for the win. Love it.
All right. So Can't Hardly Wait moves on. I would just, before we move off of that, I would like to say that in this age of the Snyder Cut, please release the Can't Hardly Wait R-rated cut.
Yes, I've
because
heard about
that's like
that.
one of the most notorious
exist?
things out there. Yeah, it's out there somewhere. Like they was really supposed to come out like as a hard R, and then the studio got scared and went, oh no, it has to be PG-13. And then they came out and didn't do very well. And then next year, American Pie comes out. And they go, that's what we were doing the whole. So somewhere out there is all that footage, including 2 characters who were completely eliminated from the movie because one was
because they were so dirty.
Yeah.
What if instead of like getting inspired by the song Samantha. Instead, it's like something from Two Live Crew, and you're like, wait, what? Why would that? Okay.
All right, so Can't Hardly Wait moves on.
Oh, my
Okay.
gosh. Yes.
All right. So after you've graduated to a higher class of parties, the next logical invite is to a college rager. So our next face-off about not being able to feel your face takes place in the land of higher education.
Hey.
So I could give this movie a big introduction, but all it really needs to be said is 3 words. Well, actually 1 word repeated, and that's toga, toga, toga. That's right, the Deltas are throwing a party tonight in National Lampoon's Animal House. But maybe you didn't get the traditional college experience and missed out on the opportunity, but it's never too late. So why not start your own frat? That's right, the boys from Lambda Epsilon Omega and their Mitchapalooza in a little film called Old School. So Animal House versus Old School, which is the better party?
Oh.
Steve, you still want to go first?
I'm just...
You don't have to. I'm not trying to.
No, I'm just... For me,
Beard before beauty.
I gave my love.
I'm just a huge fan of Animal House, so that's where I'm going. There's something about, I don't know, the age I was, old school Will Ferrell comedies that just aren't as enduring for me as a classic like Animal House. So that's where I'm going.
Fair enough. Just to make it fun, I'm going to say the exact opposite. While I'm not a classicist, but I do respect a lot of the National Lampoon movies, but at times I'm like, were we just inventing comedy? Like, there's just whole sequences, there's whole parts of the movie where you're like, this just feels weird. It doesn't even feel dated. It just feels weird, and like there's no real joke. It's very strange. I like a lot of Animal House, but I would say Old School because it took the idea and elevated it.
Okay.
So does that mean Kyle Knockout gets
split.
to?
That's why I have to decide it. So I'm actually I have my pick, and I'm doing it for a
charity,
a less thought out reason than Tommy's. So I'm gonna go with Animal House, but mostly it's because I'm not a big fan of the movie. However, I just watched a documentary about John Belushi called Belushi it was on Showtime.
I've heard my parents watched that
my
and
whole
they loved
perspective
it.
of him. Yeah, it was one of the most visually interesting film documentaries about a celebrity I've ever seen.
Don't they do like animation or something?
They do animation, and the animation is astounding. Like I would have liked to seen a whole movie of them, like just using the animation. It's really, really great. So even if you don't have Showtime, if you can find a way to see it, it's really good. So I will pick Animal House and the 2 votes. So that Animal House.
Fair
moves
enough.
on.
Now I will immediately start QAnon and start like this weird because the vote didn't go my way. I'm going to start my own. I'm going to just be voting for options that aren't on the table. So good luck.
Okay. You can just start marching outside Pete's house and saying, "Whose house is this? This is my house."
Exactly.
There you go.
Okay, so when you have a house and you have a party, and it's not enough to be a house party. No, it needs to be the mother of all house parties, a pajama jammy jam. No party would be complete without royalty, so we've got a queen. It all kicks off in House Party 2. So next one, I'm going to do a little bit different of an introduction. So, Chicago's hottest spot is Gary's house. Hidden in the suburbs near Joliet, this party has everything. Sex, drugs, rock and roll, chips, dips, chains, whips, Robert Downey Jr., a Pershing 2 medium-range ballistic missile, a gang of mutant bikers, and who's that in the corner? Is that Hervé Villachez? No, it's a talking mutant blob named Chet. Plus, it's got a boingo bop. You know, it's that thing where you get Danny Elfman's new wave band Oingo Boingo to record your theme tune. And it all happens because of a little weird science. It's alive. I'm so pleased with
I know. You should be 100% pleased with that. You have done, I feel like this Satmat is like your dissertation. I'm very impressed from beginning to end.
Last week, Rob really raised the bar.
Did.
So I was like,
fair enough.
I'm not going to let him show me.
Fair enough.
So House Party 2 Pajama Jammy Jam versus the weird scene at Gary's house in Weird Science.
Steven?
Well, I have not seen House Party 2.
Racist.
Yes, exactly. Because, but Weird Science, growing up in the suburbs of Chicago, anything John Hughes was, and being in middle school, high school at that time, it's like, no, that's just that's me. So that's, that one of my favorite moments is the grandparents. Well, he won't stand for baloney, They get frozen and locked in the pantry there. That's right. There's so many classic quotable moments for me on Weird Science, but I don't know how to compare it to House Party 2.
Okay.
Because I'm apparently a racist.
Well, unlike
we're learning so much about each other.
Exactly.
Unlike racist Steve Sarmento, I also haven't seen House Party 2. I just wanted to call him a racist. Okay. No, Weird. Going down, at least in my personal culture thing, Weird Science has so many touchstones and so many the before memes were memes, like just sort of things that continued on. And of course, I hope I'm getting the right movie, Bill Pullman.
Bill Paxton. Don't get your bills.
I do that every time.
Bill Pullman is right.
I have legit lost 3 different bets in my life because I keep forgetting which is which. But no, so I'm going to say,
did Bill Pullman come up to you and say, "Who am I?"
Yeah, that was weird.
Or Bill Paxton.
Yeah, he was next to Joe Carnahan. We were all doing shots, and you know that none of this happened, right?
Right.
I do ayahuasca, and I'm like, and then something else happened. No, I will happily say Weird Science.
Weird Science. Yes, I also grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, so yes.
Hey, you know what? One thing about Weird Science, real quick. Not Anthony
Michael Hall.
Anthony Michael Hall. The other guy. I thought he was so cool, and I thought he was so neat. Did he go on? Like, I feel like he just kind of disappeared. He was really handsome. I loved his voice. I kind of maybe had sort of a crush on him of like he's neat because he's unconventionally interesting. And then I feel like I never saw him again.
That's true.
He did a couple things in that era, but I can't think of, it's one of those things.
Listeners, tell us about the other guy from Weird
Steve
Science.
makes it sound like Steve murdered him. He's around. I don't exactly know where, but I'm sure that he's not, under a shallow grave.
One step closer to John Hughes.
So his name is Ilan Mitchell Smith, and this is what happened. He was in several movies in the mid-'80s. The Wildlife, Weird Science. He was on an episode of The Equalizer, Journey to the Center of the Earth, The Chocolate War, and a film called Identity Crisis in 1989. He was on Superboy from 1989 to 1991, an episode of Silk Stockings in 1991, and then nothing until 2015, where he did a voice on Axe Cop, and then he played a character on The Goldbergs in 2017, and that is it. Wow.
I have the box set of Axe Cop, so I should just get it. That's a little skit I'm writing. No one knows what that is. Okay, go ahead.
I actually don't know what that is.
Do you really?
I've never seen an episode, so I do. Because it's got a comic book thing.
Got
so
it.
Comic books are sort of my thing. So, okay, so Weird Science moves on. All right, so round 4. The only thing better than being invited to a party is crashing it. So we've got 2 party crashers who are here to have fun and not get caught. So this 40th floor shindig's got everything you want. Look at this spacious luxury suite, even though part of it's under construction. And sure, it's an office party, but once the booze gets flowing and the cocaine gets passed around, we're all going to have a good time. As long as the boss's ex-husband doesn't screw things up for the rest of us, that is. And hey, who ordered the German strippers? It's a mandatory work party, and no one will ever forget it in Die Hard.
Yeah. Hans Booby. Okay.
I was like, should I try to do this as Ellis?
Oh, my God. That would be amazing.
Okay, but the best parties are the ones that are hardest to get into. First off, check out this secluded country manor. Pretty swanky. Just look at all these people. If they're not getting freaky with someone, they're standing around watching other people get freaky. And while I'm digging this robe, this mask is kind of itchy. Well, what's that? The password. Oh, the password's Fidelio.
Remove the mask.
Second password? Yeah. Uh-oh. I guess I better keep my eyes wide shut. So,
outstanding work. I'm so sorry that I get so excited that I keep screaming clues over you.
No,
it's very
great.
annoying.
It gives me a great sense of joy when you guys figure it out. Like, on the way, you're like, oh.
No, Tommy wants to play a game called Name That Movie. It's like, I can name that in 2 Kyle sentences.
I know, I'm sorry. I'll settle down.
That's good.
I just get so excited.
It's all good.
So, Die Hard or Eyes Wide Shut, which is the better party?
I haven't seen Eyes Wide Shut.
Steven.
I know.
Really? Okay.
Yes,
Steven
I know.
House Party to Sarmento.
I know.
You're
but
so racist.
I know.
No, I think
exactly.
he has DIY shut, so I think we removed the racist card.
No, he's so creative with his racism. Now he just hates everyone.
I do. But come on, crashing a party to kill people, Die Hard. I mean, okay. So, or is it the terrorists that crashed the party?
Well, I was thinking as John originally was the party crasher, but,
right?
But I guess they crashed the party too.
Yeah,
so I guess which is better. What we're debating which is the better party.
Eyes Wide Shut is insane. Die Hard is a classic. Ho ho ho! I have a gun. Let's do this. Yeah, Die Hard.
Okay, Tommy says Die Hard. Steve,
I've seen Die Hard because
Die Hard. Okay, because you haven't seen Eyes Wide Shut. All right. Okay. All right. So now we're going to get into our little spoiler ones because now we have our first face off. So we have Can't Hardly Wait has moved on, but now it faces a new competitor in the field. So we need to blow off some steam. I mean, that was a heck of a fight with all the explosions and the flying and the heavy breathing, but it's super nice of these little hairy dudes to let us throw our celebration here. Even though I heard they're cannibals, they can really write a song, though. That yub-nub thing really gets stuck in your head. Hey, who invited the ghosts? Now it's a party. It's a little post-Empire crumbling soiree
ghosts.
in Return of the Jedi.
Are they
Star Wars, Return of the Jedi.
Are they like in the canon? Are they called ghosts? Because I didn't know. Like, no, I'm not joking. Like in a world of midichlorians, are they like legit called ghosts? I'm actually asking. Like,
yeah, they're actually called Force ghosts.
Are you being serious? They're called Force ghosts. So that's when
I am being serious. Yeah, yes. I'm telling you, Star Wars is not the best.
So that's when George Lucas is like, "Let's call it a night."
Yeah, yes, Force ghosts.
Saber Phantoms.
Yes, with their high M count. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so
our face-off is Can't Hardly Wait, the house party, versus the celebration at the end of Return of the Jedi at the Ewok Village.
Anyone knows me, they already know my answer, Steve.
Because you love furry animals?
Nope.
He sure does.
Well, so if we're talking about the Ewok part, I mean, or are we talking about the whole like galactic celebration? But if we focus on the Ewok party, because is it the special edition? Is it the special edition?
I was doing original.
Okay, original. Yeah, okay,
not the around the galaxy.
No, if we keep it to just the original.
Right, we're not litigating best movie. We're litigating best party.
Best party.
Right, yeah. Because clearly there was not enough drinking and shenanigans in the Ewok village, so Can't Hardly Wait has a better party.
But Can't Hardly Wait is filled with so much fraud.
Lando was there, so you know it was going to be legit.
Yeah, and you got Luke and Leia running off behind the trees, so who knows?
It's true. There was a nice Darth Vader barbecue pit going on. I mean, roasting weenies over a Sith Lord. I mean, come on.
The nerd rolling off the roof and then getting drunk and then showing up in the thing is enough for me. Can't Hardly Wait. CMW.
Yes.
CMW. I'm really good at acronyms. CHW.
You've turned Steve. Is that the thing? So Can't Hardly Wait moves on.
Okay. Can't Hardly Wait.
Okay. Okay, our next new competitor, facing off against Weird Science. First of all, it's likely tomorrow we're going to die. The authorities are going to bust down that door and haul us all away. But while we're here, wearing very little clothes in this large, dank cave, we're going to get all kinds of weird as we wait for the end of the human race. And hey, it's Keanu Reeves! Now it's a party! It's a little pre-dance battle before the world ends in The Matrix Reloaded.
Oh, that was the second one?
The Rave in the Cave.
So many dirty feet.
Yeah.
That really like sticks out to me. It was just like mud and feet and then mud and feet.
And slow-mo.
So much slow-mo. Mud rave.
What is it against again?
Against Weird Science.
No, Weird Science has got a kid getting put into a TV. That's the best party ever. That's it. Weird Science. Kids. Neo can't put people in a TV. No, he can't.
Well, actually,
can he?
I think
he went into a TV at one point. That's where he learned the batteries.
He is the one.
That's right. That's right.
But if his idea of a party is mud feet, no.
I'm going to go with Mud Feet Rave because my favorite part is the long shot where Morpheus is like, here's the plan. And there's no mic. He has gained weight. Yeah. He's wearing an open shirted vest. And then it cuts way too wide. And you're like, no one can hear you. He's just yelling, and like 20 people of these 9 billion people can hear you. It made me nervous, like Life is Beautiful, of like when Roberto Benigni is like, for fun, I'll pretend that all of the Nazi rules are a joke. And I was like, no, it's really important we all are on the same page because robots are killing us. That might have been a weird connection, but no, I'm gonna go with Mud Feet. So knockout. Okay. It's up to you.
So, yeah. So people at the back are like, "Can we start making out?"
Yeah. People in the back are like, "What about the noodles?" Like they still don't quite get it. Of like, yeah.
While I think it's more likely you would get lucky at the rave in the cave, I'm still going to have to go with Weird Science just because you're going to tell that story for the rest of your life. And for all we know, that was what happened in the last city, like on a weekly basis. They're like, "Yeah, can you get done with your speech? Because it's almost 4." All right. We're into our big face-off to decide who will be in the final competition. So we have Can't Hardly Wait versus Animal House.
I know my answer, Steven.
Yeah, I'll go with that. Yeah. Can't Hardly Wait over Animal House.
All right. So Can't Hardly Wait is in the finals.
Yeah. Because Animal House, there's a couple parties, but like I said, Can't Hardly Wait is the epic party.
Okay. So, Weird Science versus Die Hard. Which is the better party?
Well, the better party. The party in Die Hard legit sucks.
Yes, exactly. Well,
before the terror show
still sucks.
It was going all right.
No, it wasn't. It was
still kind of dumb. There's like those 2 people that break into the office.
Ellis was having a good time.
Ellis is always sniffing a good time. And then there's 2 people that like jump in the thing because it was the 80s, right? Yeah. And so they were like, we got to get a woman without her shirt on. And they're like, she's probably in that office over there. Steven?
Who's this Gary character you keep talking about? You know, Gary, our son Gary? No, I don't know what you're talking about. No, Weird Science. If we're getting to Can't Hardly Wait versus Weird Science, I don't know what we're going to do.
And it looks like we are. All right, so time to face off, gentlemen. Okay, here it is. Best movie party, Can't Hardly Wait, or Weird Science.
I have an answer.
80s versus 90s.
Oh, wait, I haven't gone rogue yet.
Can't hardly wait for the Weird Science.
Bits and pieces, pots and pans.
I'm going to say Can't Hardly Wait because like a good party, everyone got a little bit too drunk, everyone got a little too fraught, and then it all turned out great. Mostly.
It's true. Lives were changed.
And Ethan Embry is adorable.
And I think for the, do you say it's real? I guess the sheer realism of that party is compared to the nonsense of Weird Science where the rules of physics are being bent. I think, I agree. And there's something I just read recently I'm talking about the R-rated cut, and I interested in seeing it and think I've got to track that movie down and see it again. I remember really enjoying it. I just haven't seen it enough, but I will side with Tom.
It's around?
No, well, it's not. You can't see it, but I know there's been discussions about people. The fans are like, we want to see this. Why is this not being released? It's there. There's a print of it someplace. So just give it to the fans. Release it out there. Because they will
exactly, like they get it on a streaming service.
They will Venmo their hard cash for that movie.
I've got my $20 bill. I'm ready.
Yes, exactly. Whole new generation.
All right. So both of you are in agreement. Can't Hardly Wait.
Yes.
All right. Can't Hardly Wait is our winner. It is the ultimate movie party, and everyone who has not seen that movie needs to go watch it now because that's what the winner gets. Is everyone who's listening has to go watch that movie.
Kyle, thank you so much for working so hard on all of that. That was a big bracket.
That was.
Yes, it
sports.
It was 10.
And that's the closest I get to sports in my entire life, which is fantastic.
Right, me too.
Yeah.
I had to go into all these like places where you print stuff out and figure out like double elimination, single elimination, round robin. I was like, I don't know what any of this means. I'm like, just show me the places where I can put the words.
I was hoping for some Hanks in there. There was no Hanks. There was no bachelor party in there.
Nice.
I thought about bachelor party.
Yeah. I've never seen bachelor party.
I guess the one that did not make the cut. The face-off was going to be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh. Okay.
Versus the party at the Playboy Mansion versus Great Gatsby.
Oh, ooh, yeah, okay.
Old
I
sport.
thought that would have been an interesting one too, but like it didn't mathematically. I couldn't get it.
Right. Oh, sure.
All right, so that's the end of our game. I hope you guys had fun.
Oh, yes.
And now we'll move on to the game because we're talking about peculiar communities.
Peculiar communities. I'm still working on the theme song, but
okay. That's my Oingo Boingo cover band.
Yeah.
All right, so that's what the people wanted. That like all of our patrons voted, and they wanted to talk about peculiar communities.
Meaning movies that involve
movies that involve peculiar communities, and however we define that. So, Tommy, you had the first trailer, so you get to go first.
Oh, this is so exciting! All right, I have a yellow sticky here, and boy, oh boy, what do I want to pick? What's the best strategy? You want to save your weirders for laters? There's no strategy.
There's different ways to do it.
Because it's literally not even a game. We just are pretending it's a game.
Well, you try to avoid the steals. I think that's the thing. But that's
Got it. Okay. Well, I have one. And the only reason I'm going to lead with this one is going to make one of my co-hosts very unhappy because they wrongly feel that it's a movie about nothing, that has no basis in anything, when instead I believe it is a brilliant treatise on loss and horror and trauma and all of that. One of the most dynamic, peculiar communities that I've seen recently was found in Midsommar, which Steve hates.
I had a feeling.
Midsommar makes Steve so unhappy.
I have not seen Midsommar, so I'm neutral in this. But what is your, as Tommy has now presented his case, what is your issue with Midsommar in very small fashion?
I mean, yes, it's a peculiar community. It gets into the whole nature of the boyfriend-girlfriend relationship and our main characters that I have issues with. And people are like, he's the worst boyfriend ever. I'm like, well, he's not. He doesn't deserve this. Anyway, there's not much. There's not much there, in my opinion, on the story and motivation, but that's me.
And in other opinions, there's a lot there to dig into, and it's very exciting and interesting. So Midsommar is my number one.
I'd say that's a great choice because I know that has hit pop culture really hard.
Oh, yes.
Because I have not seen that movie, and I know almost everything about it because like people are really, really talking about it.
I think it's not one where I can say, oh, don't see it. See it, and you may love it, you may not love it. But I think it's definitely one of those that people should give a chance because it's like you're going to probably end up on one of these polar opposites.
It's made to be probably pretty divisive. It's a tough watch.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is. Now, I haven't seen the director's cut that's, another half hour longer or something like that?
More arguments, more screaming.
Yeah, more
whatever
stuff. Yes. All right.
All right, so Midsommar. All right, so my first pick for a peculiar community, we're going to Pennsylvania, to the small town of Covington. It's a very close-knit community. They don't go out much, mostly because if they go out at night, they might encounter those we do not speak of.
Fun.
Because, of course, I'm talking about The Village from 2004, directed and produced by M. Night Shyamalan.
If it makes you feel better, we have our first steal.
Oh,
that was on my list.
Wow. See, and that is why I did it first, because I thought, if anything, people probably would get this one. I think that movie is much maligned, and it does not deserve to be.
I 100% agree.
It's way better than people think.
Totally agree with that.
People got caught up in the whole, what's M. Night's twist going to be? What's the Twilight thing? And the thing that I loved about this movie is the twist doesn't matter. Because the story is more important than, like, you have a twist and you go, oh, it's a good twist. Oh, okay, it doesn't matter. Because the character that would most affect doesn't know about the twist.
Right. No.
So it's like, oh, okay. So, emotionally, it's still a pure, true story for that character. I don't want to spoil it too much for those of you who haven't seen it.
But for me as a parent, that's, like, what is it?
Seeing it from, that's a different perspective.
What is a parent willing to do to try to keep their child safe from the dangers of the world?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's crazy. Yes, I love that one. No, I'm glad you brought that one up. I'm glad it was a steal. That's definitely one that people should give a chance.
Steve, you're still creating your delusional village where the movie Midsommar doesn't exist.
Yes,
that's your big plan.
That is. That is definitely. Great. Yes.
I think we're in it.
Yes. Okay.
Good choice. First steal. Good choice.
All right, Steve. What's your first?
I will start with. Sometimes you just are sick of the world. And want to withdraw from it because I'm sick of this. But there's other times when the world is actually making you sick and you run off to a little sort of strange community because you're suffering from 20th century disease in Todd Haynes' film Safe with Julianne Moore.
I've never seen Safe, and it's always been on my list.
So, but I know it, but I haven't seen it.
So, she keeps getting they say it's allergic reactions, and she discovers a community, and it's, she gets driven up in a taxi cab, and the taxi cab drives too far up the driveway in the community. The people are screaming, "Get out of here, you're polluting the place." And it's just this whole commune of people that feel like pollutants and all that. And the question is it really, a safe place for them? Or is this just run by a guy who's running it as a scam by feeding into people's fears? But safe,
wow.
Definitely worth checking out.
What else is Todd Haynes directed? I know that name.
Velvet Goldmine.
Oh, I saw that. Oh, okay. Cool.
Is one off the top of my head. I know there's more. I just don't know his filmography
that was a bit of a grenade to throw at you. I don't know why I did that.
Far From Heaven.
Oh, I love that's where I know him from. I love Far From Heaven. That's where it turns out Dennis Quaid is gay. That was the original blurb of that movie.
Is that what it was?
I don't even know. Was it even Dennis Quaid? All of that might be wrong.
It would be in that 40s style trailer. It's like the movie where Dennis Quaid is gay written across the screen in big letters.
Say, folks, here's a show you need to see.
Yes, exactly.
Hey, have you heard the real scoop about Dennis Quaid?
Picture.
Yeah, he's a gay man. Okay, luckily it is Dennis Quaid, and everything else I said was still very insulting. Great.
Okay.
All right, so we're on to round two then, Tommy.
Round two. Here's something. If you go with the literal definition of community, which is a group of people existing in the same place or having a particular characteristic in common, what if there was, I don't know, probably should have figured this out before I did it, 6, 7, 8 people all slowly show up to one location? Maybe it's raining really hard. Maybe it's in one hotel. Nice. And what do they have in common? I don't want to spoil it, I guess. I just realized in real time I don't want to spoil it. But what they have in common, they have something incredibly in common. The movie is called Identity. Originally, the original script that I read way back in the day was just called ID. But Identity, it stars John Cusack and a murderer's row of really cool, fun character actors. And it all takes place, again, I'm a huge fan of contained pieces, love to exam, and it's called Identity. It all takes place in this one rainy night, and it is a mind blower that is weirdly overlooked and is not caught the zeitgeist. It's called Identity with John Cusack. Check it out. And I'm sorry, I didn't realize how unsatisfying that would be because I picked another spoiler movie that I shouldn't. No, so my apologies.
I totally forgot that movie existed. So thank you for bringing that up. I saw that. I remember enjoying it, and it's like one of those things where you bring it up and I go,
good.
"Oh, right," because they had that one character actor, and I can't remember his name, the heavyset guy who had the weird eyes.
Oh, that's his weird, thing. He's also in the Keanu Reeves movie, the really good movie where he plays the demon hunter. Oh, Constantine.
Yeah, Constantine.
That's sort of his thing, but he's actually a legitimately really good actor. I'll figure out who he is while we continue the podcast.
I've got it. I've got it right here.
Steve.
So, no, because I love that movie. And I think, Tommy, one of the things that you can say is that all the people that are drawn there to this place. I think they all share the same birthday, and I think that gets us something interesting that's not spoilery. But no, John Cusack, Ray Liotta, Amanda Peet, John Hawkes, Alfred Molina, John C. McGinley, Jake Busey, Pruitt Taylor Vince is the guy with the
Pruitt Taylor Vince. That's the name of Eyes Magoo. Okay, he's also probably a lot of people will know him from the X-Files.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, and directed by James Mangold. There you go.
James Mangold.
Yes.
I think that movie is a near masterpiece. I own it and I watch it. That's one of those like perennial. What's perennial mean?
Happens on a regular basis.
Fantastic. What's perennial mean? No, I'll go with perennial. That is a perennial. Who's up next?
That's me. So my next pick is a classic story. It's boy meets girl, boy falls in love with girl, boy discovers girl is 600 years old, F. Murray Abraham shows up in weird skin grafts and tries to destroy everything. I mean, it's the classic tale, and told in a little film called Star Trek Insurrection. So my my group are the Baku, and they live on a planet called the Briar Patch, and because of metaphasic radiation. I know everyone was saying it at the same time as me, but it's fine. I got it first. They live forever, essentially, as long as they stay on the planet. And of course, this causes a problem because when people leave, then they die. And so they want to come back.
I really thought that you were talking about Let the Right One In. Or let me in. So I take back all of my overly condescending. Because then you were like, F. Murray Abraham was like, Amadeus, and then you were like aliens, and I was like, oh no. So no, I didn't see any of that coming.
I took you on a little trip.
You really did. Yeah.
No, the Baku, that's a very peculiar community because they can slow down time and all kinds of Star Trek.
A guilty pleasure for me. I think that movie is way better than the Star Trek fans make it out to be.
Fair enough.
Okay. All right.
I'll never know.
All right, Steve.
All right. So
it's okay. You don't have to watch any of these.
I like. What's the one? I like First Contact, and I'm not being sarcastic. Okay. I thought that was most people do. Really good.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. No, I hear you. All right, so
Steven.
Because we talk about communities and being in they're in a common place. You inevitably get into like sort of dystopian places where civilization has crumbled and people have had to group together to survive. And sometimes that's in an underground city. And sometimes that's an underground city where there was a plan to return to the surface, but that got lost buried in a back closet in the movie based on the young adult novel City of Ember with Saoirse Ronan and Bill Murray, because they have all kinds of weird rules and jobs, and it's a very peculiar way to be living for generations and generations in your underground city.
Wow, another movie I totally forgot existed.
What's the name of the I missed what's the name of the movie? I missed
City of Ember. City of Ember.
City of Ember?
Yes.
Ember, yep.
Why have I never heard of that at all?
It came and went very quickly.
2008.
2008?
Yes.
City of Ember. All right.
City of Ember.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. When you were doing your description, I'm like, is he about to say Beneath the Planet of the Apes? Because it almost matched up, and I was like, no, Bill Murray I don't think was in Planet of the Apes.
I was about to say, is he talking about Let the Right One In? Because my earphones went out, and I'm just like grasping at straws.
I love that movie, and I wish there was a place for it on this list, because I encourage people to watch Let the Right One In.
City of Ember.
Yes, City of Ember. I love it. It's sort of a
it's a little bit of a YA,
exactly.
kind of a young adult. It's sort of in the
family,
Hunger Games, Divergent sort of family dystopia.
Cool.
Yep. All
right. So under round 3, tell me what's your last pick.
All right, my last.
I stole one from you.
You did, which was exciting. My last pick is: sometimes a community lives in a town. Sometimes the town itself seems sick, almost historically sick, almost like the town itself is infected with something that comes by every, 27 years? Something. One of my favorite authors of all time, of course, is Stephen King, and I'm talking about Derry, Maine. Maine, where Pennywise comes back. One of the coolest things. The films are pretty hit and miss with me. Overall, for me, A+. But one of the coolest things when he bothered to lean into it is that the town itself has been infected either to look away. It's a very cool sort of metaphorical takeaway of like looking away on bullying, homophobia, misogyny, all of this stuff, racism, of course. So I will pick It and It 2. And because that's 2 movies, I get double points. This isn't a real game. There's no points. This isn't a real game. Okay.
Yeah, I really like that as well, that feeling that like the town is in on it or has been corrupted by whatever. I thought the actually miniseries did a much better job of conveying that, because the movie, it just seems like, wow, there's like 4 weird people in this town.
Yeah, every once in a while you're like, oh, so you just have a Cadillac with a balloon in the background?
Yeah, or like, oh, man, you should pick a different drugstore because that guy is creepy.
Yeah, why are you going to Creeps Drugs?
Yeah.
It's called Creeps Drugs. Yeah.
Oh, all right, so yeah, you pulled it out, but it still counts. So It, either chapter 1 or 2. Yeah, fans take your pick. So I picked one that I sort of use a loose definition, because the thing was peculiar community. So community doesn't necessarily have to be geographically bound. It can be a group that feels the same way or believes the same thing, and maybe they disperse all the time, and sometimes they come back together. So there's a little... So, yeah, say, get yourself together, Tommy, because the film I'm about to mention, you have a close personal connection to, because
is it Tommy the movie?
I'm talking about? No, it's Fanboys from 2009, and so this movie is about a group of people who love Star Wars, and so they find out when episode 1 is coming out, one of their friends is going to die. He will be dead before the movie comes out, so they decide to cross the country and sneak into Lucasfilm to see the movie before he dies.
Oh.
On the way, they stop by Riverside, Iowa, which is, of course, the birthplace of James T. Kirk, and they encounter the community I'm talking about, which are Trekkies.
Oh.
So they start a little bit of a rumble because they start insulting back and forth their different things. And so Seth Rogen plays the leader of the Trekkies, which, of course, because Paramount would not play ball, none of the actual things they're wearing or around have anything to do with Star Trek, because they couldn't get the rights. But we all know. So
that's fun.
It has a very fun little scene. And of course, you have a connection because you have worked with one of the actors from Fanboys.
I have?
You have,
and you told me
he was in your film.
Oh no, Dan Fogler.
He played the counselor. Yeah,
was he really? Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know.
He is one of the Fanboys. He's the one who actually starts the fight.
Oh, that's so funny. Oh, that's great.
That's the first place I ever saw him. I became a fan of his because of this movie. And this is if you're a Star Trek or Star Wars or just a geek in general, or if you just like road trip movies with teens being weird, Fanboys.
Or more importantly, 30 Nights on Amazon Prime.
That's true. Yeah. If you put the two, you can see the evolution of Dan Fogler's career by starting with Fanboys and ending with 30 Nights, and you will enjoy both of them.
Neat.
Probably equally.
Okay.
So that's my pick. Fanboys from 2009.
Good pick.
Oh wow. That's I haven't thought about that one in a long time.
Yeah.
Because that's
And uniquely to me, I have met the directors of both 30 Nights and Fanboys. So it's quite a thing for me too.
So are you
put that one up on the scoreboard?
There you
go.
You totally want to watch us make out?
I do.
I know that's a part of your thing.
I have a script I'm going to send you. I just want you to be open-minded when you read it.
Oh, it's like fan fiction of like, I directed 30 Nights. I directed Fanboys. They look at each other longingly.
Currently, it's fan fiction, but it doesn't have to stay that way.
That's a good point. Fan fiction is a poor man's porn.
That's right. It's like, hey, it's just we all got to start somewhere. It starts with a dream.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Steve, bring us home.
Steven.
Speaking of fan fiction porn, in the future, no, it's not.
Ooh, let's do that.
So in the future, so this is a movie I saw when I was very young. I think I probably saw it on TV first, but it gave me a sense of a future community that was just so different from anything I'd seen before, because people had shaved heads and wearing their white pajamas and big vast white spaces in THX 1138.
Nice.
What kind of weirdo community is this where you got your weird Jesus-y suicide booths and I don't know what kind of crazy holographic television stuff going on? I couldn't make heads or tails of it the first time I saw it and thought, this is some type of crazy, peculiar community that George Lucas is writing about.
That's very true. For a second there, I thought you were going to talk about cone heads, but I think you made the better choice.
I love the idea of like a really, really, really young Steve Sarmento being like, peculiar.
Someday this will be useful
Yeah.
to me. All right.
Hooray.
Okay. So
There we are.
those were our peculiar communities.
One steal, no points. This isn't a real game.
Yes.
That's right. And so really, we all win.
I love that in Coda there is a part for winner. This isn't a game. I don't understand. There's something for steal and winner. Sorry, listeners.
I'm just going to always write the listener.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Because, I mean, really,
That's right. America's the winner. Okay, go ahead.
No. Because our listeners are around the world. We're a global community.
Good point. I meant the world's America.
Did you? All right. So the game continues, though, and so we will pass it on to the next group. So we need to pick what the three things that the community will vote on for them to have to figure out in the game. So we have to figure out, and I believe, Tommy, you are going to be one of those people. So you'll be putting your thumb on the scale here. So we have a list of all sorts of different things. So the film is The Hand, I believe, by Oliver Stone.
Yes. Yes.
They're watching The Hand?
Yes. They're starting the Oliver Stone series. They're starting the Oliver Stone in the 80s series.
Oliver Stone is so fascinating, but The Hand is not a part of it.
The Hand. So obviously there's lots of different things we can go with. There are prosthetic body parts. As I look at the list of things we have there, I want to grab, because I'm the host, I'm going to grab odd killers, because I just love that idea that there's killers who have an unusual quirk about them. Not just that they're killers,
that's fine,
but they also have a fetish or a fling or something strange
odd
about
killers.
them. So I'm going to go with odd killers.
Okay,
Tommy, what
I have one that is not on this list of.
Okay, of course you do.
but for real, because I've seen this movie, so I'm not being like an anarchist. Whenever you see, I haven't seen The Hand in a zillion years, but the one thing that I remember is when you see from the quote unquote hands POV, there's this really deep breathing. It's a hand that doesn't make any sense. So I don't think it'll ever be picked, because maybe it's way too esoteric or too niche, but wildly inappropriate sound effects.
Oh,
is that fun?
Okay. No, it is. Good. I think it opens up a lot of
maybe it does. Okay, yeah.
That's broad enough.
Wildly inappropriate.
Wildly inappropriate. Yeah, not mildly. I mean wildly.
Wildly.
Wildly inappropriate sound effects in movies. Yeah.
What do you see on there, Steve?
Oh, I'm always a sucker. And see, this is, this one opens it up enough, and I think that it's one of Tommy's sort of favorite genres to get into. But protagonists losing their minds. Or are they?
Love it. Ooh, do you mean like unreliable narrators, or just you don't know? Or are they?
Are they?
Or the most reliable narrators?
Exactly. Are they bending your mind? Or are they?
Or is it just Thursday? I love it. I love those choices. Those are great.
So our three picks will be wildly inappropriate sound effects, odd killers, and protagonists losing their minds. Or are they?
Love it. Oh, that's fun.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's fun. Oh, wait, and I'm on next week. So these are great.
You are.
I just remembered that I'm on next week. Okay, cool.
All right. So now, listener, you're saying to yourself, well, gosh, fellas, I sure had a swell time listening to your weird games and list making, but how can I get involved and also help this madness keep flowing into my ear holes? Well, that's quite simple. If you go to nextreel.com/membership and sign up for a mere $1 a month, that's 4 heads of George Washington, you can become a one-reeler and get access to our Discord server. And we thank you. But wait! You say, I want to do more and also get more back. Well, generous patron, if you up your monthly donation, you can morph into the super powerful two-reeler and be able to watch live streams as we record, like this one, and get access to new episodes of our shows in your very own private podcast feed. Plus, super secret member channels on Discord, like the glimmering Show Talk channel.
Oh, it gets
What's so important about the
dirty.
Show Talk channel?
Oh.
I'm glad you asked, dear devoted listener. And if you'd like to vote in next week's poll, the only place you can do so is on that very same Show Talk channel. Monthly schmonthly, I hear you say. I've got a lot of cash and I want to give it to you in one fell swoop. Then good news! You can now give us an annual donation at any level. It's convenient, it's affordable, it's good for your soul.
Oh.
And because enough is never enough, and you've been so patient listening through all this self-promotion, we have a special offer for you, diligent listener.
What?
That's true. If you go to nextreel.com/letterboxed, you can upgrade your Letterboxd account to Pro or Patron with a 20% off discount. But, host whose name I've forgotten, I already have a Letterboxd account. Well, first of all, if it's okay if you forgot my name, and secondly, you're in luck. This discount also works on renewals. What more do you ask for? You give a little, you get a little. It's the only way 2021 is going to work correctly.
Wow. Yeah. Give us your money, jerks. Wait, was that not the best sign off?
I think we're still working on the slogan.
Sorry,
but
it's not hashtag give us your money, jerks.
It's in contention, but just haven't settled on it yet. And that's our show. That's Saturday Matinee. So thank you all for listening all the way, Lou. Thank you, Tommy.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you very much, Knockout, for a great show.
Thank you, Steve.
Always happy to be part of the Beardy Bros podcast here.
Get on the Herstoot train, Tommy.
Yes.
And thank you always to our listeners. Enough said.
Hondo.
You guys know that I hold my breath through the entire podcast, right?